Hello guys, welcome to Fireside Chats. My name is Colin.
And I'm Corbin.
And this is where we stoke the flames of imagination. Tonight we have a pretty decent matchup. One that almost didn't happen, to switching from characters and ideas due to the fact of the strength of one.
Yes.
We have Cyborg from DC versus
MVP 17, or otherwise known as Android 17.
Good old Android. Mind if we stoke a little bit of some biographies and what's the word I'm thinking of? Like history of these characters. Like Cyborg, he wasn't too unbelievably old of a character in the DC universe in the idea of when they came out, but he's up there. Like he's not, like I told you, he's decently newer to the Justice League. But that doesn't denounce any of his strengths, abilities, blah, 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 this and that. If not, it brings up his ideas because back then all you had to do was be able to pick up a boat and punch it a long, far away. How about Android 17? When did he arrive in the idea of the Dragon Ball universe?
So how Android 17 first came into being was there was this doctor named Giro. Now he did science experiments on how cells work and how you could manipulate those genes. So when he finally passed away, he built an android body for himself. That android body, he went and abducted Lapis and Lazuli, two twins, and made them the androids 17 and 18 through their cells, and they manipulated the cells to give them certain abilities, like some of their cells, like their skin, can mimic steel, if that makes sense to you guys. So that's the birth of androids 17 and 18, collectively.
Neato burrito, almost like Marvel's absorbing man.
Yeah.
To a point, like there are so many different ideas with him, with like how he changes skin to make them like be like metal, or he looks normal but his skin is like metal. But that's beyond the point of Cyborg. The man is metal, and he's man. He is human. He's literally a cyborg per se, and so I have a very decent feeling that Cyborg would do pretty well if he was in fight with Android 17. And the idea that we're going off of post-crisis Cyborg, because don't get me wrong, pre-crisis Cyborg is so strong, but pre-crisis Cyborg has been known to be able to take Darkseid on himself.
Yes. And
don't diminish Darkseid because Wonder Woman or even Aquaman can fight him. Darkseid in the Crisis was like basically God.
Yeah, he could stand up to the anti-monitor and the monitor.
Yeah,
he was
like
on their level.
He was God. And I understand in the idea that Android 17 is also no pushover, as in the fact that he's fought with Goku before, hasn't he?
Yes.
Now, what form did Goku use on him?
Goku's highest point in terms of when we first pick up and see 17 one more time is he arrives at 17's island and then they start sparring. Goku starts off in Super Saiyan. He's getting his shit wrecked by Android 17. Now, mind you, this is after a Goku Black arc. Goku in Super Saiyan. So his Super Saiyan form is way stronger than what we would have seen when he was in God fighting Beerus.
Oh, yeah.
So it's very surprising. He kicks him out, and then this Goku turns blue, is forced to turn blue to keep up with 17.
Yeah.
And still can't take him down.
Now, when it comes with the idea of, Goku's strong and everything, and full through on that, but Cyborg has regularly sparred with Superman.
Yes.
Which doesn't need a power-up to get nearly that strong in. We don't need to start getting into the Superman v Goku, because I don't feel like being harassed on the internet.
Especially in current canon, when it's been a while since they've done it. Yeah, it'll spark flames.
Yeah, no pun intended on that one. But yeah. So I've done enough research on Cyborg to know that a lot of his photon blast that he fires out of his arm cannon, and it's an arm cannon in cartoon and like animated, but in like weird live action it's like this weird arc blast. thingy.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
So, it's same difference, might as well, you think about it. And it's done enough damage, enough pain to Superman to make him flinch. So that's nothing to scoff at. If you can make the Man of Steel flinch, you got something hard you're hitting him with. For Pete's sakes, he's withstood punches, Darkseid, General Zod, who else was really, really strong that he went up against? Cyborg Superman. Oh my god. But it's not the same Cyborg, it's just a cybernetic Superman. And he was getting his ass whooped. But it was bad. Like, it was bad enough for him to need to be taken away by the rest of the Justice League members, because this Superman was able to copy anything Superman could do, without the weakness of kryptonite. So he was able to wield kryptonite in that. Granted, kryptonite makes Superman weak, but in fights between Lex Luthor and Superman, when Superman gets ticked off, it just doesn't seem like it works as much, because we've seen him where he just gets so angry and so powered up that he just will beat the ever-living shit out of Lex Luthor.
I agree.
And like I said, Cyborg regularly spars with this man, so his durability is up there. Mind you, he also has the mother box within him, which powers him. And this is in the newer canon, older canon. Teen Titans didn't really touch on that, because there was one episode where they went way in the future and the only thing powering him was the tower's power. That was a really good episode. If you guys ever can find the Teen Titans, like the original on whatever, watch through the series. Great series. And he's powered by the Mother Box, which is basically infinite power. And as I remember, you said something about the same thing with Android 17?
Yes, Android 17 has a biomechanical, I would put it as a power generator. It's the same thing that Cell had in Dragon Ball, just not as advanced as his. So what it allows the android to do, they're not technically androids, but they call them that. It allows them to infinitely have full power. So say Android 17 can put up his barriers. He can just span that as many times as he wishes, because he has infinite energy to do so. So I say that's a pretty even bout between Cyborg and 17.
Yeah. These two characters, it was so hard to find anything on Cyborg that was either canon or well documented enough for me to use in my identification of who Cyborg is, because there's so much stuff out there by fanboys, people who are angry at the series, that people just don't like it, so they try to trash talk them. And it was so hard. I had to do a lot of picking. I have that huge thing on my phone about it. That took so long to do, because at the start I only had 3 pinpoints. I only had 3, and it was basically Sparta Superman was able to fight Darkseid one-on-one and was able to hack the Batcave's computer.
Okay.
Those were the 3 things I got. And then I finally found this huge article about different things that he's done, different things he's been able to do. And I used a little bit of AI, too, to figure some stuff out. And I fact-checked it, because we all love how AI messes with things. It's oh, yeah, this definitely happened, and that happened, and this happened. It's no, it didn't. I had to fact-check it, because I'm like, okay, I need more information. This needs to happen. But the strongest feat I saw him do was able, with pure strength, not with his photon blaster, not anything else, was he was able to hold Darkseid back. He had him by the front and was able to hold him back for, I think, if I remember the clip long enough, it was at least 8 to 10 seconds ish. He was able to fully hold Darkseid back, which, if you manage to hold, and that was post-crisis, and it was insane. The idea that he's able to basically hold God back for 8 to 10 seconds. Granted, he was stressing it, but how do you hold back an omnipotent being and not stress? That'd be like Android 17 walking up to Beerus and holding Beerus' mouth shut.
Yeah.
Now, has he ever had a run-in with Beerus before?
17?
Yeah.
In terms of a battle, no. When he was recruited, he did meet the God of Destruction.
Okay, so what's Android 17's probably like strongest strength feat?
So we don't have too much information on 17 just because he came in the Android and Cell saga and then didn't appear until almost the end of Super. So when we first pick him up and then we get him over to the Tournament of Power arena where he's actually meeting everyone again. So to give a little bit of context and power scaling, he was able to go one-on-one with that Blue Goku. That Blue Goku is massively over Universal at that point. I think we all can agree to that just because the Clash in his base form now would go at least 20 times what him and Beerus did, clashing and shaking the entire universe. So 17 coming in off of that is as strong as a Blue Goku, a perfected Blue Goku. So I would range him at the start of the Tournament of Power roughly around either high Universal or breaking a little bit into multiversal.
I can agree with that. Now I will also say I'd probably give Cyborg Post Crisis nearly that, because if he's been able to fight Superman, and this is relatively new comic, I discovered that for some unknown reason, Atlas, like Greek Atlas, who holds up everything, exists in the DC universe. Huh? But there's also other gods. So does that mean every god exists in the DC universe? Because you got Dr. Fate, he messes with the Egyptian gods. They got everything.
Technically, off of continuity, I would say yes, but they can't interact with Marvel on that.
Jesus Christ is in that universe, and you can't tell me nothing.
There's a Bible in it.
There's a Bible. It happened, guys. Jesus happened in DC. Exclamation explosions on the what's it called? When you you put a bunch of explosions in a really fake title onto a video for people, clickbait.
There it is.
Explosions, exclamation points. Jesus Christ in DC universe. What? But no,
we should use that as a clickbait.
I would love that. But in back to what I was saying, Superman once, I can't remember the exact conversation they had between each other, but Superman basically took his place for something. I can't remember. I didn't really pay much attention to it as
I do remember that comment.
Yeah,
he actually holds the Earth long enough for Atlas to go to his daughter's wedding and get back, and then carried it back over.
Yeah.
But Superman was very stressed by the end.
Oh, could you imagine you're holding up the Earth, the heavens, and I'm guessing if you're holding up the Earth and the heavens, you're holding up basically the universe within itself.
Yes.
Because for the heavens, Greek mythology, the heavens is basically everything that the universe entitles to, and that even includes hell. But yeah. But in the idea that Superman's strong and Cyborg has been able to fight with him, he's been able to fight when Superman I can't remember, something happened to him where he couldn't remember anybody, and he was basically like he was beating a Batman, he was able to break out of Green Lantern constructs and this and that, and Cyborg was a part of that, and he was getting whooped around, and then, well, obviously fighting with the rest of the Justice League against Superman and this and that, but I will say that he at least has to be universal post-crisis, universal or low, very low multiversal. I probably wouldn't put him at low multiversal. I'd probably put him near it,
okay.
But I wouldn't go too much farther than that, just due to the fact that we've never seen him do anything of multiversal anything. Granted, if he were to try to release the power of the Mother Box, which is basically a black hole that is inside another black hole that is encased in this weird alien metal stuff. And if he were to release the power, I know if remember in the Justice League movie, if the Mother Box was able to be opened, it would destroy it would give someone the power to destroy basically the universe at their hands, because in that weird whatever his name was, Mister, I have a sword. Steppenwolf, that guy. He had like he had the weird horn and stuff.
Yes.
And Superman's just like, scoff, get out of here. But so, what do you think his speed feats are? I know because if you're going toe to toe with Super Saiyan God, what was it? Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan?
Yeah, perfected version.
Yeah.
Yes.
If you're going up against that, you're obviously faster than light. But I don't think I've ever seen Cyborg. I know he can dodge light-based attacks because he's been able to dodge Darkseid's, what's that beam called? The laser. His Omega beams, and they're supposed to be erratic, but they always hit the target.
Yes.
And he was able to dodge them and survive a blast from them, which obviously sends him flying, but it does the same thing with Superman. So God knows how strong that beam really is. It's been able to hurt Superman. It's been able to tear Superman's clothes off. I've seen that man walk into the sun, and he still had clothes on. What are they made out of? Because we all know he was a baby when he came. He wasn't wearing that when he was a baby.
They could be manufactured by like Argus or like not Luthor, but some version of Luthor tech, like or Wayne tech.
Yeah, something.
That gives it
something. But how about give me a rundown on Android 17's speed feats?
Okay, so far for 17, just being able to keep up with that Goku. If we venture into the Tournament of Power, here's where we start getting into like the nuts stuff about 17. So when Goku goes Kaioken times 20 and Vegeta goes Blue Evolution, so our steps above what 17 was fighting neutrally at. They go and fight Jiren, and then later on 17 joins in with them going at it. Now, in order to even keep up with them as fighting a Jiren, the dude in his base could take an Ultra Instinct Sign Goku and bat him around like he's nothing. That's a huge jump in terms of power and in terms of speed, just because Kaioken times 20 Goku, even before all this happened, in his blue form could push himself forwards in time just because he wanted to. And now this is hundreds, if not thousands of times stronger than what he was in that prior arc. 17 catching up to that is going to make his speed come up to that as well, because Jiren's fighting all three of them at once. He isn't going to scale down his power just for 17 while he's hitting Goku and Vegeta with the same amount of strength. That would make these three win, which he was beating them, but it's still a big achievement for 17 to be in there fighting with them three against Jiren himself. So what would you say, because we stopped doing light speed in terms of the Namek saga. That's where people started being faster than light. So I would put them relatively almost at infinite, is what I would assume to say, because he's also fast enough to keep up with Goku's instant transmission.
I don't think Cyborg has speed on his idea. I think he has pretty good what's it called? When you get reaction time. Because if he can dodge Darkseid's Omega Beam, you have to be pretty fast. Like, really fast. Like, it chased Superman going almost as hard as he could throughout the city fast.
But Batman has also dodged his Omega Beam.
We don't talk about what Batman can do. No. Batman, like, Superman going crazy and getting really angry has punched him right across the face. He's a normal person. He's a normal person. How? Why? Because we have to keep him around. You can't have Batman.
Because he's Batman.
He's Batman. I'm Batman. I can fire. I sound like Matthew McConaughey.
His suit can just take it, apparently.
I guess so. It's a Black Panther type style stuff. I don't know. Kinetic energy? Huh? What even is that? Oh, bloody nose from hitting you in the side of the head. Oh, it sounds like Superman cracked you upside the head or anything. Like, what are you talking about? We don't talk about Batman. That's why Batman will never be on this show.
Yeah.
Ever. Because
Batman's busted.
we don't talk about Batman. No. He was able to act like Superman before. Remember that when they switched places? Huh? They didn't even look alike.
Mm-hmm.
So, how? Did you get Clayface? He got Clayface. He just grabbed him by the head and been like, I'm gonna use you for a second.
I remember sorry to get off topic here, but let's continue this little bit and then we'll hop right back in. I watched this video of Batman swapping bodies with other superheroes. Now their combat ability goes down through the roof. His just excels because you're giving him something else to work with that just makes him better.
Oh, you mean the one thing where he gets switched into what's her name?
Stargirl.
Yeah, and he's just loving it, and he's acting like a teenage girl too. Like,
Yep.
like mess with his brain there for a second. But back to the lovely what you guys all came for. All you guys buy in. One person, maybe. All that fun stuff. But Android 17 really blew me out of the water when I read a little bit about him trying to figure out if Cyborg could face up against him. Like when I said before, I almost had to change my person because I forgot about post-crisis. Like I'm thinking like, oh my god, Android 17's over here battling Goku well beyond power that we've seen him before. And he's surviving punches and giving Goku punches back. Like nothing. I was thinking, well, I'm gonna try to win a losing battle by talking nonsense because what else am I gonna do? And then I figured out post-crisis, and then I'm like, okay, now I'm getting back into it. But from what the information you've told me, and just the idea of me trying to think of him and Cyborg fighting, I don't think Cyborg has the speed to fight him. Like his reaction speed is great, but there's just all his Android 17 would have to do is just he still has mostly human, so all his Android 17 would have to do is basically just tear him to pieces.
Yes,
and he would just Android 17 wouldn't have any problem with that. For Pete's sakes, Android 17 has been batting around by Goku. Like he ain't breaking anytime soon. So
and they had a dude in the Tournament of Power which just revolved around defense. Now it was 17 and 18, but they both just kept going at him until his defenses eventually cracked and shattered.
Yeah.
Now I will say, Cyborg definitely does have the strength feat if we're going with this.
Mm-hmm.
Just because him being able to take and dish blows from Superman is said to have infinite strength. I would place Goku, Vegeta, and 17 around that caliber, but they need to achieve the transformations to get there. 17 doesn't on that respect. So I do think Cyborg would take the strength because he's fought with Darkseid, who also has infinite strength.
Yeah. I say he takes the strength wholeheartedly. But I as much as I try to think, like, I understand I'm supposed to be on Cyborg's side here, and I have to try to defend this, and I'm trying my damnedest. I really am, and it's just getting to the point to where I don't think I can reasonably argue that Cyborg could fight. It's the Blaze versus Starfire thing all over again.
Yeah.
Why does it always have to revolve around DC characters? It's always when there's a DC character in it. This is gonna happen every time, and we have a whole nother season planned out. You still got to give me the first matchup. You still have to.
We did have a DC character that didn't break all logic. Deathstroke.
We did, and I argued that pretty well, enough to get your agreement on Captain America's strength and everything, and that would be in that fight. Like, I gotta try to imagine, like, if they were same thing to go back to this Captain America versus Deathstroke, we placed them in the idea that they'd be walking around town and they'd bump into each other or something would happen. I don't think if Cyborg is just relaxed and not like battle hardened in the idea that he was just fighting a bunch of people or anything like that, I think everything's going to be pretty like based at that point, because and same thing with Android, but Android 17 has the power there and then.
Yeah, he's always at 100%. Yeah.
Well, Cyborg is just like, what do you do? What do you do with the information that you're given? If someone comes up and punches you square in the face as hard as Goku.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like, that'd be like we don't even know if, we already know Superman a lot of the time holds back his power because even he doesn't know how strong he really is.
Yes, because he has infinite strength.
So I don't know if I can reasonably say. I know he has durability because Darkseid has punched him, and he's fine. Well, I say fine, but
So what about hacks then? What types of abilities does he have?
he's hacked into the Bat computer before, which is supposed to be uncrackable. He's in the what's it called? Injustice games. In the Injustice games, it was shown when he met up with a other version of himself. It was taking him a decent amount of time to crack into himself's his other self's processor computing system and stuff like that. So to imagine, he's probably thinking he probably has a really fast thinking process, probably like supercomputer type deal. He's been able to. He's extremely smart when it comes to being mechanical. He's created multiple different suits for himself. He was a part of making the Bat, the Hellbat suit, and tons of different things that he's been around to help create. Blah blah blah. And I just think obviously he's gonna have the technical know-how over Android 17 because we've really never seen Android 17 busting out inventions and
yes, I would
stuff
agree
like
with
that.
Yes,
Because that's not really much of Dragon Ball's thing to do. They're kind of a sweet and simple and to the punch, if you know what I mean. And
the only thing I will say for 17 wise, in terms of abilities that they gave him his bubble. He's got a bubble where he prevents all damage. It's the same bubble that Cell uses.
Yeah.
He can spin it if he wants. I've seen him go like this and place 20 shields in front of him at a full power gear and rocketing towards him to try to stop it.
Spin. That's all I could think of the entire time. Is that spin meme.
He's caught people in it and spun. And by the way, he also does have a self-destruct feature inside of his body, which if he wants to, all of his power is then tripled to where it explodes. And when it explodes, it goes up.
I have a feeling that Cyborg would probably be able to survive the explosion.
I would agree.
Because just from this stuff that he's been in where planets are exploding. He's been in the middle of, he's been sucked into a black hole, which is supposed to destroy matter that is not supposed to, black holes, they blow up in the science community because they break the laws of physics.
Yeah.
Because matter is not supposed to be created nor destroyed. Where does it go in a black hole? So, and that's an insane thing about the mother box. There's a black hole. There's 2 black holes in it. And so I would believe he'd be able to survive that self-destruction. I don't know if I'd say he could probably crack or if not break the bubble, but I don't think he'd probably have to try decently hard and in desperation to break it because, again, he's managed to make Superman flinch with his blasts.
Yeah.
So, like I said before, if you're hurting him, you're doing something right. Well, if you're hurting him, you're probably doing something wrong. But I believe Cyborg would have has all the good qualifications to battle Android 17. I don't, as much as I want to, I don't think he could pull out a win. I'd say he'd give him one good thrashing.
Yeah.
But from what I've learned, Cyborg is really, I always call him a partner superhero. He is not meant to be the main person in the fight. He's a very big crew type of person. He fights with others: Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Green Lantern, Flash, all of them. He's caught up with the Flash, if that's anything.
Okay, that will put him massively over light.
They say he's caught up with the Flash before. His processor in himself has been able to. Well, obviously you're going to catch up with Flash. He's been able to detect Flash going across the world trying to spin it backwards. He was able to be able to know the exact location, and be able to talk with him and catch up with him later on to stop him at the right point for the Earth to stop spinning. So for him to be able to catch up with the Flash and not get absolutely demolished from this Flash going from however fast he was to dead stop and just catch him like this, Flash held his arms out, and he was able to hold him in place. Don't mind the musical interruption, but no, he was able to stop him. So there's something, but I just don't think he has the power to put Android 17 down. I don't think Android 17 has enough power to destroy Cyborg. I have a feeling he could easily knock him out.
Yeah.
Because for Pete's sakes, there's so many Superman's been knocked out in the DC universe. Blunt force trauma, everybody. Don't you love it? Brain to skull contact. Delicious. But yeah, as much as I want to argue that he can, I don't think he could win a fight. But I'm typically a very argumentative person when it comes to things I think, but like when it comes to these, and I'm dialing it down for the viewers, because one day I want to just have a day to where we pick two people that we know. Oh my gosh, it's already. Wait, I already think that's gonna be a bad one.
Yes.
That's gonna be bad. Like, because in next season we have a giant matchup in like one of my favorite, if not my favorite, characters from a TV show of all time, and he's fighting he'd be in the fight with someone else, and it's just you're gonna see me get riled up, like, because if I end up stuttering and not being able to filter out like actual real like normal conversation, it's gonna get bad. But like with today's episode, I've never been too much of a DC fan, but I like some of the characters. And you're a very much Dragon Ball fan.
Yes.
I know that. So you know a lot more on just straight detail of Android 17. Well, for me, I had to go digging and blah, 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 and this and that for information on Cyborg. I couldn't find a single thing about, like, Cyborg's alternate forms, because there really isn't any. It's just pre-crisis and post-crisis. Okay. Those are really the only two versions. If you want to go deeper, you could go to Teen Titans and Teen Titans Go and all that different universes, because it's just the way it is. But I think I have to concede and say Android 17 would probably whoop ass against Cyborg. As much as I want to defend the man, I just don't think Cyborg could do it alone. Now, if you were to not allow Android 17 to have infinite power, I'd say he could probably last longer than Cyborg 17's power could get him.
Okay.
Get him in time, like the time span of the fight. I think Cyborg.
I would agree to that.
Yeah, because
he would just be able to outpace. But with two infinite level beings in terms of energy, they're going to keep going till someone gives.
Yeah. And Cyborg, I have a feeling, would give a lot quicker than Android 17, because Android 17 was fighting Jiren, the man that was giving Goku and Frieza a run for their money. You're insane to try to argue that he would lose in a normal fight against Cyborg from DC Comics. But yeah, I'm gonna have to say, Android 17 would probably whoop ass. But
I think with his barriers, Cyborg could definitely knock tons of those out, but the only problem is he can just keep putting...
Yeah, they're not stopping. Yeah, no. But I will have to say that I've conceded, and I do believe Android 17 would win in a fight, and I think that this has been enough for the episode, and the next one is something that we're gonna have to scale the one character up to at least 2 to 3 or 4 foot tall at most, because the next battle includes Kirby from Nintendo versus the lovely
Super Boo from Dragon Ball.
And I understand, people, if you're watching, you're gonna think, Kirby? What's Kirby doing in this fight? Kirby has been able to eat a universe. And you're telling me this thing's 8 inches tall and he inhaled a universe?
Kirby has an infinite pocket dimension inside of his stomach.
which he can access.
Yes.
So next time on Fireside Chats, it is Kirby from Nintendo versus
Super Boo from the Dragon Ball Z saga.
And I say that's going to be a battle for the mightiest pink-ish character.
I agree.
Because I know Super Boo, I've seen him. He's somewhat pink. He's a weird shade of pink, but he's pink nonetheless. But I do say this has been a great episode, and I hope you guys enjoy the next one. Next one, Kirby versus Super Boo. I think we got a good one coming on. You guys have a good night.